Good afternoon. One of the defenses of the King James Bible that we defenders use often is the idea that the King James Bible will correct the Hebrew and Greek, and the enemies of the King James Bible often use this position to ridicule the defenders and say how ridiculous that we can say the King James Bible corrects the Hebrew and Greek. And of course, when they say this, what they're really saying is that the King James Bible is correcting the original, which that is not what we are saying. We are saying is that the King James Bible corrects the Hebrew and Greek where they get it wrong in those texts. And we have a perfect example of that in the passage of 2 Samuel 21:19. And if you read that from the King James Bible, you'll see that there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elihan, the son of Jehoram, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother, and this brother is in italics, of Goliath the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And then you'll see many translations leave out the word brother. The ESV leaves out the word brother, and so it has Elihan killing Goliath the Gittite. The Geneva leaves out the word brother. The NAU leaves out the word brother. Then you see the NIV, and in the latest edition in 2011, they've put in the word brother. They don't put in italics, so they want you to think that the word brother is part of the Hebrew text. It is not. But they have to put the word brother in there. They finally come to the realization of it, because if you go to 1 Chronicles 20 verse 5, you'll see, and there was war again with the Philistines, and Elihan the son of Jehu slew Lami, the brother of Goliath the Gittite. So we know who killed Goliath. Clearly this in 2 Samuel 21:19 is speaking about killing the brother of Goliath. And the older NIVs, they had left out the word brother. But here the NIV sees the correct reading and follows the King James reading there, and corrects the Hebrew by putting in the word brother that the Hebrew text had left out. We see some other translations. The New King James has the word brother in it, in italics. So they follow the King James there, recognizing they have to correct the Hebrew in order not to have a contradiction with 1 Chronicles 20 verse 5. New Living Translation, they have the brother, and during another battle at Gob, Elihan son of Jehu from Bethlehem killed the brother of Goliath of Gath. Of course, they don't put the word brother in italics in that case, and so that's deceptive there. But they recognize that they have to change, they have to correct the Hebrew with the English. And Young's Literal Translation, they also have a brother. They have a brother of Goliath, the Gittite, and they have the brother in italics there, showing that it's not in the original quote-unquote Hebrew. So again, this is the deception that these guys are going to come at you with, that when King James Bible believers say that the King James Bible is the perfection of the Hebrew and Greek text, and the King James Bible corrects the Hebrew and Greek text, gets the right reading, fills in the reading when necessary, when they're with italics, that show the correct reading. In the case of here again with 2 Samuel 21:19, the brother was put in there in order to avoid a contradiction with 1 Chronicles 20 verse 5. The word brother is missing from the Hebrew manuscripts, and therefore the King James Bible corrects the Hebrew, as does the latest edition of the NIV, and the New Living Translation does so, as well as King James 21, New King James, and King James 2000. So there you have the case where these translations seeing the contradiction that comes out if you don't correct the Hebrew in 2 Samuel 21:19 with 1 Chronicles 20 verse 5. You're going to have a real problem. And therefore, the translators of the King James Bible saw that, and correctly corrected 2 Samuel 21:19 with the correct reading by putting brother in there. We know that it was David who killed Goliath, and therefore this individual, Elihan, killed the brother of Goliath. But this, don't let these King James rejectors with their sneering and their attacks against the King James Bible. This is the big one they laugh at. They say, well, these defenders say the King James Bible corrects the Greek and Hebrew. Yes, it does. When the Greek and Hebrew texts are not sufficient or correct, the King James Bible will get the correct reading, and that's why you have italics in these places, and that's why you'll have cases where the King James Bible will get the exact right word that needs to be used in English, and as opposed to getting the incorrect word that is often used in the modern versions. So when you have the King James Bible, you have what God would have written. If God had written the originals in the English, it would have been in that. It would have read exactly as the King James Bible has reads. So we're not saying that the King James Bible changes the originals. What we say is that the originals again have been shown up now in English and translated into English, and is accumulation of the translations of the English Bible. We're finding when you hold the King James Bible in your hand, you're reading what God wanted you to read in English as He wrote the originals thousands of years ago. So we have a perfect translation from the Hebrew and Greek into English, and therefore anytime there are any gaps or problems with the manuscripts in the Greek and Hebrew, the King James Bible corrects it. Amen. Thank you.